And last, sir, I mean, the game is the least, but the segment is certainly not the least.
Yeah, let's talk about Atomic Heart.
Do we have to? No, I'm just kidding. I mean,
You
I so
certainly have to because this is the game you've been hyped about this game for so long, so
yeah. Well,
long.
to be fair, when we say for so long, I got like I had first seen it last year, and I was like, that game looks sick. Saw
Yes.
like two trailers, and I was just like, and we talked about this a little bit. Hell of a job. Hats off to the marketing team because they those are good trailers put together. They look exciting. They look exhilarating, and there's just where do we start? There's so many layers to this
All right,
because yes, I was
let's
very excited.
let's just lay out what the basic premise of this game is first, okay? For those who may not know, what would you say the basic premise of Atomic Heart is?
Like plot or what the game wants to be,
Okay,
because
basic
those are two
plot,
separate things.
basic plot premise. What is this? What is Atomic Heart?
I mean, like, listen, I played it for 9 hours and I've had a hard time following it. Because the dialogue is so bad, it's confusing. Even the characters at times throughout the game have been the protagonist is like, I don't even know what's going on. So you get an idea of where we're at. But it's essentially like alternate history, a la Wolfenstein. Russia won, I forget which war. I don't
World War
They
II.
won World War II, but I believe that the alternate timeline starts even before then, if I'm not mistaken. But essentially, you start off there. You are playing as like kind of a hired gun for a division within the Russian government. And he is like hired gun slash like kind of like goon, for this guy
Yeah.
who's essentially the head of a robotics team. And this is at post World War II, but we're still very much in the 50s. So think that Wolfenstein, think Fallout, the kitschy part of Fallout, obviously not the post apocalyptic, and it's like the striking Nazi imagery, but like a proud, Russian Soviet Union version of that. Their version, with all the just like over the top pageantry, and just the zaniness of like how surreal that feels when you think of like that kind of music, but of course just the Russian version. And essentially, there's like been a they're like, hey, it was just kind of a blip. It's like this like accident is how they're framing it, where all of a sudden these robots go haywire and start killing Russian citizens, and they like have there's like small bits and pieces about like they're trying to hide it and bury it because like America, I think from what I understand, they're sending these robots over to America, and their plan is there's like an attack mode within the robots, but basically the Americans don't know about it. And if they find out about the accident within Russia, the Americans are going to be pissed and probably start war. And so like they're trying to hide it, but also like understandably part of some of the government officials are upset about why did this accident happen, etc. And then it's like into the conspiracy of that. And like it's very dumb. It's like a lot going on and nothing all at
Yeah.
once. It's easy to miss the main plot within the grander scheme of the game because you're really not getting fed plot points like throughout the game. You're not getting a lot of story. It's like other than like the terrible lore spread throughout the game. It's like big exposition dumps at the credits, and then a lot of very unrelated things spread out through your actual gameplay.
Right. So the like here's my thing with this game. Like it's okay, let me start off positive. All right. First off, I've only played for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Tyler, you've played, you said what, like nine-ish?
I'm
Six,
close to
nine.
I was following along through a walkthrough. Like I think I pulled it up for one specific part. The puzzles can be very obtuse and weird, and it's just like not even like a puzzle. You're just like, I don't get this. But anyways, and so like I didn't even get past that point, but it was nice to be like, how much longer do I have in this game? And so like at a certain point, I'd check and I'd like scroll till I found where he is, and I'm like, okay, so I've got roughly this much time. So I've got about an hour and a half to 2 hours left.
Okay. So yeah, I've only played for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. So I'm still very early in this game. Uh Here's what I could say about on the positive side of things. Okay, most of what I have to say is negative.
I do have one positive thing to say about it.
Okay, maybe it'll be the same thing I do. We'll see. I think one, I like the art style, art direction of the world.
Oh yeah, it's not mine.
Okay, I like that. The game looks really good. It looks visually good to great. Okay, it's not like mind blowing or anything, but I like the style of the world that we got going on here. I like that. I think that there are good ideas here in terms of what you call like the tone, at least the tone in like the underground section. I like it feels like spooky ish, like kind of horror ish. I like that tone. I like that feeling. Um and
it does feel like at a point they wanted a vertical slice to feel like BioShock. And then again, to the point of the problems with the game, change their mind later on.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. I like the tone in certain parts, very, very specific parts. And I think there could be good ideas with the gameplay in terms of like the powers. I think there could be good ideas. Again, I'm early on, so I don't know how it evolves or anything like that. But outside of that, Atomic Heart is just rough. It's very rough. And I think it all comes down to what you said right here just now, which is, I think, one of my key things. We've all known this from the start. This game very clearly wearing the BioShock influences on its sleeve, like very clearly. It wants to be BioShock. It is not BioShock by any stretch of the imagination. It falls
not
so far short of even coming close to being on the level of BioShock. Which
so you said your good thing, right? Do you have any other good thing? Because I just want to get the small good things out before I
don't think I can. I don't think I have any others.
Here's the one thing I like. Forgive me if other games have done it better. You have the ability, you hold out your glove, and you just like a magnet pull all of the items from the cabinets. Every other game, please do that. I'm tired of searching through each fucking cabinet. It's really sweet ability. I like that. The other thing I like, the locks have little mini games. I kind of like them. I like it more than any
lock picking.
They have traditional lock picking in this game. It sucks, but I also think all lock picking sucks. But the little lock mini games, they're fun. I enjoy them. I don't mind. I look forward to them. Little brain teasers. The only good puzzles in the game for my money. So let's get the elephant out of the room. You may or may not have heard this because it's making the rounds. But so, I kind of loosely described like Russian conspiracy is like how you could take the plot. It plays everything very straight. You're not crazy if you get 3-4. This is basically a Russian propaganda game. Like, it is being undersold how much this feels like fucking recruitment for the Soviet Union back in the 80s, man. And it's like, not even nowadays Russian propaganda. This feels like height of the Cold War Russian propaganda. Like, hey, wouldn't it be sweet to work to like come be a part of the Soviet Union? And it's like, listen, I am not by any means a capitalist, but at the same time, man, what the hell's going on here is terrible in so many ways. Like it's so baffling that like, I think my mouth just dropped at one point when I started to really be like, oh fuck, there's no other shoe to drop. There's not like oh gotcha, because again, BioShock, it's like someone played BioShock and thought the message of that was like, oh, capitalism is good, so let me make my Russian version of that. And it's like, but that's not the point of BioShock. Like, you're missing all of the subtext. You took everything as very literal text, which kind of boils down to a lot of the issues with the dialogue. Like we were talking about it. Oh my God. It's so bad. It's like written by a 14-year-old teenage edgelord.
Oh my God.
Who just started jerking off last week.
Can we please talk real briefly about the freaking upgrade refrigerator?
Oh my God.
The first time I came across
the horniest upgrade machine you've ever seen.
I was like, what the heck even is this? And then every other time I came across it, she's like, put your polymer in me, honey. I was like, oh my God, what
It
are we even
stops to
doing?
be, it does stop after like a couple of visits with it and it turns into a regular one, but it's
What the hell was that? What even
ironically
what?
enough, you could take it as a highlight compared to some of the other a lot of the other game. Because at least it's like shocking at first. You're like, oh wow.
Yeah, that like that's bad. The dialogue between the
I
main character and other characters, like it's so fast paced, but like a lot of their back and forth are just like, what are we even doing here? Like, what are we talking about? What's happening? None of this makes any sense at all.
There's zero established relationship between this man and his glove.
Thank
And yet,
you.
like,
Thank
and
you.
yet, and yet, literally like 30 minutes into the game, he's telling the glove to shut the fuck up like it's the most annoying thing ever. And we're like, we've heard this glove talk twice. Why are you like, hey, actually, I have no idea what's going on. Some feedback would be nice. Some exposition would be nice. And yet he's like, shut the fuck up, acting like he's like we, the audience, are over it. And like we're 12 hours deep. And it's like, no, what?
Exactly. That's the thing. Like the game starts you off. Like the game starts off. You're just like on in a boat, right? Essentially, and you're in the boat. It's like basically give you like a guided tour of the city that you're in, the town you're in, right? And like you start talking to the glove, and it's like it's trying to do as if like, oh yeah, we have this bond. Like you kind of know each other already, but like no, I actually know nothing about it at all like that. So like it's like why are we having this like you want me to feel like to you want me to feel like, oh, we have this like deep connection, but like I know nothing about either of you right now. Like it's just so weird. Like you're just dropping me in like 5 hours into a game, but no, like this is minute one.
Yeah. And I like, again, it feels like they're trying to imitate that Bioshock moment, right? Because you are kind of just like, oh, wow, dropped into it. But it's like, it's about the little things. It's about pacing. It's about understanding what makes that work. They don't understand any of it. And like, let me be clear here. As bad as all of that is, it could still be a fun video game if the mechanics were functional. If it was fun to play, this game is a fucking drag to play.
Yeah,
I am spite finishing it. That is it.
I don't know if I will.
It's okay to make the player feel powerless, but there's a balance to that dynamic. You don't, if you make your player feel powerless and flood them with enemies, give ass stealth mechanics, and give like I was telling you, it feels like there's like zero balance on the camera because you get lost turning around real easily when you're flooded with multiple enemies because it's just like there's no real directional sense. There's no weight to this game at all. Everything feels so weightless. Shooting feels like garbage. You know what? I'm 9 hours deep. I just literally before we got started the podcast, I was like playing it. I just got the rocket launcher. It's the only like the shotgun's okay at times. And it's like inconsistent, which is annoying and never feels like you really know what to expect when it comes out. The rocket launcher is the only satisfying thing because you know you're going to blow something like it's a one-hit kill.
Yeah. And see, like I immediately you said it before before we started recording, like the movement is so weird. Like you feel it the second you get out that boat at the beginning of the game. Like I'm thinking, okay, like I'll push forward on the control stick, it'll be like a mild walk. No, like your regular pushing forward on control stick entirely is like a fast move. And like in order to do a slow walk, you have to ever so slightly tilt. And it's like, why is it like that? And then the camera, turning the camera, it's kind of fast paced, like it wants to be like a Doom in terms of movement, but you don't have any of the mechanics or the satisfying feel of a Doom at all. And then, like you said, when it comes to the shooting and all, like shooting with the shotgun, like I play a lot of first person shooters. I know how to play a first person shooter, how to aim and shoot. But dear Lord, like I was trying to shoot hip fire with that shotgun when you first get it, and I was like, why am I missing? Like, what the heck is going on? There's no feedback in any way, shape, or form. Even when you
pretty much
hit.
have to hip fire because aiming down the sights, it's garbage. It is so bad aiming down the sights. You have to hip fire, which means it kind of rules out certain like guns for certain things. It's not like that's the problem, right? Because it wants to do the Bioshock powerless thing, but then at the same time, it wants to do the Doom thing. Hey, you're moving fast, a lot of enemies. Those are two completely different things. Because Bioshock shooting and that which is better to be clear. But it doesn't have to be as tight. It doesn't have to be as immediate and just instant, no lag, just like rapid fire. And also, Doom is throwing ammunition at you, so you just are constantly. It's encouraging the chaos, whereas Bioshock is like telling you to lightly because ammunition is scarce. You can't just fuse those two. That's not how it works. And on top of that, everything feels like dog shit. Like shooting is terrible. Like I legit just beeline through enemies and run. And it's crazy because the game tells you to do that. And it's like, okay, well then why are you, if it's stealth, it's okay to have enemies and make them feel like they're a threat, but there shouldn't be 100 of them because it feels overwhelming in a way that's just not fun. There's no tension to the anxiety. It just ends up with me just running through everything, like constantly. Like that's what I'm doing, getting from point A to point B, just running. And oh my God, the driving is so bad. Like,
yeah, for the record, I'm still where I am in the game. Like, I have not made it out to the quote unquote open world. I'm still underground. So, where I am, things are still pretty linear. Like, enemy encounters, it's never been more than like 3 at a time. But like the robots in the game, and so I've only gone against like the base humanoid robot, nothing more than that. But like the way that they are, they'll run up on you and like do like punches, and they kind of come up on you like kind of fast. But
yeah,
they also have moves where like they're about to do a move like really strong, they'll glow red for a moment, and they do it slowly with a slow build up, and then they fly across the room to hit you with that move, and you have to dodge out the way. You like press B to dodge, but like it's like it's not that it's hard to dodge. I mean, it can be. It's okay in practice. It should be hard to dodge. It doesn't feel good in practice. It should be hard to dodge, but like I'll feel like wait, I did it at the right time, but I still got hit, and like there's no feedback on getting hit. Like so, like if you got hit, you won't know unless like you can tell. Like you look at the screen because like there's no controller vibration at all that you got hit. I was like, wait, maybe I turned the setting off and looked at the settings, and no, there's no controller vibrate setting. Like what the heck? Like why am I missing like this key piece of feedback? The audio for when you get hit is like really low. So like unless you see yourself get knocked down, or maybe you hear the sound of you get hit, you won't know unless you look at your health and see, oh, I have less health than I did a moment ago because I got hit by this robot. Like it's just not a fun game to play at all.
It's such a drag. And I read, so I pulled up Metacritic to take a look at some reviews. There was a 995. I'm sorry, that person, I made this joke pre-show. That person's getting paid off by Putin. I don't care. So is IGN. Like, I never once believed the conspiracy that people pay for reviews. I kind of believe it now, seeing some of these scores.
For the record, I don't believe that. That does not happen.
I saw a lot of reviews say it's ambitious. And at first I was like, yeah, I see that. I see how these systems. But the more I think about it, the more I play this game, it's not ambitious. It's a fucking kid that doesn't know how to pick what they want to eat. They said, I want pizza, ice cream, and spaghetti and tacos. But like, instead of eating it piece by piece, they were just like, well, no, we can throw it all on a pizza or something. And it's disgusting and nothing good. And it's like, there's vague taste of things, but like, it's just overwhelmed by how disgusting the blend of everything is, because they can't pick the goddamn video game that they want to make, because ultimately this is just a Russian propaganda film just tacked on the worst systems of all time. It's dreadful. It is like literally what I said when I saw those trailers, that I thought it could be really fun and really good. It's like Bioshock, but put NOS in its veins. And like that game still sounds rad as hell. This game is like Bioshock if you injected chlorine into your veins, passed out, woke up in the emergency room, and we're just like, hey, what happened for the last 4 hours? That was the worst experience of my life. What this game is.
Yeah, like I hate
this game. I genuinely, I don't know if a game has ever made me fucking hate it this much.
See, like I don't hate it. It's just like I'm thinking about like the melee combat, and like going back to what you said about how resources are scarce. Again, I'm still early on, so I don't know. Things may change a bit for me.
They get like, somewhat more plentiful as you go on. And I told you pre-show, I hesitate to say scarce because you can't build them, but then it means you don't get to upgrade as much as you want to. So it's like, again, you're not really feeling progress, you know?
Yeah. And it's like where I am early on in the game, it's like you have your melee weapon, like this axe type thing or whatever it is. And it's like, okay, you should definitely be using the melee weapon now as opposed to your gun because there's really not much ammo for your shotgun at this point in the game. But the melee combat itself is still
Is garbage.
not good. Like you have a light attack and a heavy attack, but like with how the melee combat feels combined with the speed of your enemies, combined with just everything else, it just never feels good. And like there are points where I'm like, all right, I'm trying to use my melee weapon against the enemies because I don't have much ammo, but I can't hit them, so I'm going to switch to my gun to kill them, or else I'm going to die right now. And it's just like it doesn't feel good. And then another thing, and I'll say this as my last gripe with it. I don't know what the heck's going on with the pacing, or like, or just like common sense in the story. But you know, the beginning of the game, you're getting your guided tour, and then everything starts going crazy, and the car you're in crashes, right? It crashes, you're unconscious, you wake up, and you know, robots are attacking and everything. All right, cool, fine. Then you meet this old woman named Granny Xena. She's like, oh, you know, she's like, yeah, she's this badass old lady, and she like fighting off robots and stuff. You're just like, oh, wow, okay, weird. But then she says, oh yeah, we've been doing this for 2 days. And I'm like, hold the phone. Wait a minute. What? What do you mean you've been doing this for 2 days? You're saying that my character crashed, was unconscious on the ground in the open for 2 days and nothing happened to him, but I woke up and there were robots like 20 feet away from me? Like, that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So that's something like, unless something gets revealed in the story later on that, oh, the robot attack happened on the ground 2 days prior, but that doesn't even make sense either because you came down and were doing the tour and everything was fine for a while, and then you got attacked. So like,
yeah,
it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all in my head.
This is context included. This might be the worst video game I've ever played in my life.
I don't know if I can say it is for me. No, it's not for me. It's not for me, but it's definitely not a great game at all.
From the story being offensive to almost every aspect of the gameplay being bad, to the it is probably, I'm trying to think, because I mean, like, I have read some bad dialogue in video games. It's probably the worst dialogue in a video game I've ever encountered. Like, it's so bad between him and the glove, especially. Like, whatever that scenes a lot of times will be standard military stuff. It's not good, but it's not offensive. But oh my god, the protagonist in the glove is just insufferable. You just want to like cut your ears off. This video game is atrocious. I can't believe, again, hats off to the marketing team because they really cut together some sweet trailers. Didn't know to be a ton of homework before. Like I said, I watched those trailers, so I didn't know that this game had been through development hell. You can tell. I will say, at least in good taste, they did not release the game. They said they did it because of the war with Ukraine, which I somewhat believe, but also this game probably needed every bit of polish it could have had. But like, man, it would have been distasteful to release it then. So I'm definitely glad they didn't do it there.
Yeah.
And I was telling you, I wish it had the audacity to at least be good, to be coherent, straightforward, so we could just mouth the gape at how just crazy it is that this Russian propaganda thing exists as a storyline. So it could be like in this weird contrast of like, but the shooting feels great. This just feels morally wrong, but I don't know. Like, it would just be this weird thing that you could look back and show people, and like possibly they even play and just be like, look at this crazy fact of history. And instead you have to be like, it's like the worst video game you'll ever play, but let me tell you why it's insane. And that, you know, don't fact check me for sure. I watched it on TikTok, but apparently, and if you play the game, it's like pretty easy to be like, yeah, I believe that a couple of the studio heads, I mean, not necessarily game, like on the boot game devs, but apparently some of the studio heads worked directly in the Russian government at relatively high level. That checks out, like, just based off how the game's overall attitude is. It's just, it's so frustrating. It is so awful in so many ways. I've never had like I want to be more fascinated by it, but instead I'm just mad.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna finish it. Like you said, like you're gonna
Don't
spike finish it.
don't
I'm
spite finish it.
I'm of the mindset where like I don't like to leave games unfinished. So like right now I'm like, all right, I want to play Forspoken. And it was crazy. The first night I was playing on Wednesday, I was like, I'd much rather be playing Forspoken right now. Talk about a game where I was like, man, this. I was like, man, looking at Forspoken the first few, I was like, huh, I feel like this game could turn itself around. After I played Atomic Heart Wednesday night, I was like, man, I don't think this game could turn itself around. So like, if I go back to finish it, it will be sometime down the road. And only because I don't like to leave games unfinished. I am of the mindset though that this will be a delete off my system type game and just go about my life because like I feel like there was a promise and potential there at the base like what this game is trying to be. BioShock, with alternate Russian history, robots, revolution type thing. There is an interesting premise there and there's a good game there, but this is not that game. And like someone else needs to make that game.
I do think the actual plot proves that the intent was never to make that. It was to flip that it was, while the actual game is like, listen, call me an arrogant American and maybe my only moment, but like, damn it, American exceptionalism when we put it in a video game, Call of Duty fucking rocks. Like that game was a lot of fun to play.
Oh man,
this game sucks.
It's not fun.
Like, for a good game we lost, like the first year we did the Wody, and I'm gonna bring it back this year, which is the worst of the year. It's inconceivable a game beats this. This is the Wody. Congrats, Atomic Heart. The only award you're gonna win this year.
Oh man. It's been I don't think we've had a time where you and I played the same game at the same time. Well, no, Ragnarok we played at the same time. There aren't too many games we play at the same time. It's fun though. It's been nice to have this one game we play at the same time that we both were on the same wavelength on. We were like, let's go. let's rip this game a new one.
Yeah, pre-show you were just like, yeah, Atomic Heart. And then I immediately started on that game sucks. And then there was this brief pause and I was like, oh no, does he think it's good? And you were just like, no. And I was like, oh my God.
Oh boy. That was a fun conversation. I've been waiting to have that
conversation. What a way to end the pod.
Yes, I've been waiting to have that conversation. So I played it on Wednesday night. I knew
if you're like, you're nothing but a hater, go listen to me literally just opine about Gears 5. Like, I'm literally just doing nothing but celebrating a studio. I don't ever want to get the hater label. Yeah, like as a bit, I'll be a hater on Forspoken. This game sucks. There's no need to defend it. Just move on with your life. And nobody should finish it. I should be the last person on earth to finish this game. Everyone else should just move on.